Sam here. I'm so excited to be here with my new friend Alberto. We got connected on LinkedIn. It's been probably about a month or so ago, and we got on a call. And the moment we started connecting, I'm like, oh my gosh, my people need to know Alberto. And one of the reasons we got connected was because, first of all, he lives or is in Texas, and so I am too. I'm trying to get more connected with people that are kind of in my local area. But the thing that really drew me to his profile, outside of the fact that he's a Texan, or at least in Texas, is it said outcome architect. And I had to know more. And so I messaged, we got connected, and then you actually invited me to get on a call. And so we did that, and it was great. So if you're new here, we talk about all things client retention, team retention, business retention to keep your business stronger by keeping your best clients longer. But before we talk about retention, I want to allow Alberto to introduce himself, say just a little bit about who you are, how you help in the world. We'll talk a little bit about that so that my audience can get to know you a little bit like I have.
Well, thank you, Sam. And like you said, the first conversation we had, it was so much fun.
We
And
had to have a part two.
yeah, well, now we're part two, and I hope we have many other parts in the future. And
Yeah.
thank you for inviting me to join your podcast. I'm excited to be here. Uh, just as a little note, I am actually what is considered a Texican.
A Texican. Okay.
I'm a Mexican, but I've been living here in Texas for a long time now, so I'm more of a Texican by now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a full blood Texan. Well, let me just say, well, I've been in Texas my whole life, but
Oh,
my parents were not born in Texas. They got here as fast as they could, though.
yeah, and so did we. So yeah, my son by now he's a full Texan. So
Okay. Yeah.
so
Okay.
anyway, no, it's great. No, so a little bit of background. Yeah, I'm Mexican. I was born in Mexico City, and when I was 10 years old, for many reasons, my dad died when I was 10 years old, and we moved to California because my mom's family lived in California. So I lived 10 years there, so Mexican, and then 10 years in the States. Then I went back to Mexico for college, did all that. So you can say I had like one foot on each culture. And then I got into karate, kendo, the martial arts, Japanese martial arts. And I had a privilege of studying with a couple of very amazing Japanese teachers. So that gave me a whole different cultural dimension with Japanese. I got very much into it. I studied for 7 years with them. And one of them was a cultural ambassador of Japan to Mexico who came to organize 10 years of cultural activities. Dr. Takahiko Seoseo, my sensei, my teacher, he passed away many years ago, but he had been a colonel in World War II. He had like two doctorates. He came from a lineage of 540 years of samurai family.
Wow.
So he was like Japanese nobility, and I had the
Yeah. He
privilege of
was
studying
legit
like
the thing.
yeah, studying Japanese, the sword and philosophy and strategy and so much more. So you can imagine the mix there, like Mexican, then American, then the Japanese stuff. So I got into questioning myself a lot of stuff about the impact of culture because I could see what the United States is and what it has become, what the Japan is, being such a small country and so powerful, yet seeing Mexico what it is, and I said, culture's got to be something that has to do with this. So I
Mhm.
took a very deep dive, and I started looking at culture. I actually left architecture and got into cultural anthropology, okay, because I loved it so much. So I did a switch there, and uh, and yeah, I started understanding culture as a very large operating system in human groups.
Mhm.
Psychologists focus a lot on behaviors and human behaviors, and that's great. And as a matter of fact, a lot of what we apply in leadership and HR and all that comes from very bright psychologists who created all the frameworks back in the 70s and 80s. But that was just part of the equation. So I realized that we still have not really focused on culture and collaboration and everything as cultural operating systems in teams and
Mm.
organizations. So I got
Correct.
into that, and I started doing intercultural training and intercultural, so let's say mediation for corporations in Mexico. Actually, I created the first cultural consulting firm in Mexico back in the 1980s. Man, that's being old. And so anyway, but I started having the chance to talk and work and everything with a lot of C-suite people, CFOs, COOs, CEOs, and it always surprised me how well they were managing all their systems, production, finance, administration. They had standards, norms, procedures, but when it came to culture or human collaboration, they just dropped the ball completely.
Yeah.
So we started delving into that because I said, I saw how much stress and pain and conflict happened because we were not managing daily collaboration as a system. It was all
Mm,
trying to base it on behaviors. It was like
right.
try to be this or try to be that or try to, and to be honest, culture is not the source. Culture is a result.
Tell me more.
We always trying to find how we can create a culture that's going to shape the organization. But culture is a human response to an environment.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So when we try to create a culture to shape the environment, we're putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
That's why the success of culture change initiatives is like 30% historical, global, very low, because we're doing backwards. You need to change the environment to create the culture you need. So,
Yeah.
so I started looking at all that, and it took about 13 years, but I came up with the first formal way to architect and design human collaboration systems. Because that's the last part of what I'm going to say right now. But I also realized that trying to shape culture and values was a losing proposition because uh, I like this definition of culture. Culture is the collective programming of the mind. And nobody's born with a culture, but we get our culture programming to us from the day we're born by our
Mhm.
family or friends or collective society. So it
Yeah.
becomes an ingrained part of your identity. And when
Mm,
you come and tell people, you got to change your values, you're messing with people's core identity.
right.
It's not going to go well for you.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not. So I
So,
have a question. I have a question before you go on. So at my company, we have a culture, I believe, of gratitude. And I don't tell my team to be grateful, but I lead with gratitude. And every call we have, we start with what's good. What are you thankful for? And so it's just permeating. It's just part of what we do and how we talk. Is that what you're talking about, like from an organizational standpoint, or is it deeper than
part
that?
of that, it's part of that because you're doing the right thing. You're setting the rituals and you're setting the daily structures to promote that so that people do it. But for example, let me tell you, uh, some time ago, we went to with a company and they said, here, we respect time commitments. We're all very mindful of time and everything. But the first meeting I went to, the very first meeting I went to audit a meeting as part of an assessment. The top guy was late. And everybody waited until he got there to start the meeting. So what I told them is, look, one thing is what you say, but in reality, the policies you have in place or no policies that you have in place, for example, for meetings, in reality, what that shows me is that hierarchy is important, not time.
Yeah.
In a culture like that, in a culture that really has the focus on strict adherence to time agreements and to meeting those time agreements, uh, you would say, okay, the CEO is not here. Let's start a meeting.
You're
You okay?
right. Yeah.
Because we have a policy for that. It is a standard operating procedure for meetings that you start exactly when stated, whoever's there. Or if the person who's missing is essential for the outcome of the meeting, then you postpone the meeting.
You reschedule. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's managing with standard operating procedures, with norms, with metrics. So you
And
manage it like a
enforcing
system.
them and enforcing it, right?
Of course,
Even if it's the boss. Because usually what I found, I work with a lot of small business owners too, and speaking for myself, because we have a lot of SOPs in place, we have a pretty good structure in place. but a lot of times I am the bottleneck. And I know that, right? Most of the owners, most of the founders, if they have a team, if you recognize you're the bottleneck, that means there's still something broken in your system that your team should be able to figure out most of that stuff and be able to make decisions for you if you have a leadership team in place.
Well, yeah, but not entirely. Also, it's not absolute. Let's say you cannot set. Let's talk about a factory. You cannot set the same norms and everything for the people down on the production floor that you're going to do for the CEO, because their environment is different, their job is different, what they need to do is different.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good reminder. It's not absolute for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, you need to set different. For example, your job as the CEO of your company is more strategic than operational.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a saying in InSync, my company. We say we create teams that can take care of the present so the leader can take care of the future.
Yes. Yeah.
So for taking care of the present, you need everything to run smoothly. But you're out there taking care of the future, and that's strategic. So of course, the same rules cannot apply for the two different job descriptions.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, we'll talk more about
Yeah,
that
that's
comment and just when we get into retention, because I have a thought about tying it to that. But I was able to attend one of the workshops that you hosted a couple of weeks ago where you were talking about outcome-based planning compared to just your task list or your things. Talk just a little bit about that. And then if after we're done, if you have a link to something, I'll make sure your website link where people can go and find out about your next trainings and stuff, because it was really good. It opened my eyes to some things that I'm like, oh, wow, that is so good.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it and there was some value. Yeah, it's all logical. I mean, why do you have teams? Why do you put together teams? You put together
to get
teams
more stuff done,
to get things done, to produce outcomes, to achieve objectives that are going to deliver outcomes, right? That's it. Well, we've been doing assessments of collaboration systems for the last 19 years. So we have our own data. And let me tell you, the average, probably this is not a surprise to you or to anybody listening, because we kind of intuitively know this, but the average the average index of clarity of people about the objectives or the outcomes expected from their team for the month is 12%. And the average index of clarity of individuals about their objectives, not what they have to do. It's not about, I got to do this, I got to do this. What do I have to deliver to the team or to the business? The index of clarity of individuals for their objectives for the week is 19%.
Wow. What are they doing the other 81?
Yeah. So the other 81 get to the office and say, let's see what needs to be done. So what happens here? You put together teams and objectives and individuals and everything to achieve objectives, and then you don't really set in place the mechanics and the tools and everything to constantly make sure that people are clear about the objectives. That's failure 101 from leadership. So leading means guiding towards a future, guiding to something, right? That's the basics. So effective leaders dedicate almost 40% of their time just to making sure everybody's clear about objectives.
So if you have a company and you're selling widgets the goal is to sell whatever the widget is, and you have a group of salespeople and they have on their list of tasks or their normal calendar of making calls, is the outcome to make 20 calls in that hour, or is the outcome one new client? Or how do you determine between?
But the core outcome should not be to make the 20 phone calls, because if you keep making the 20 phone calls, that's what we call a low quality objective, because it is focused on an activity, not on a result.
Yeah.
You can be making all the 20 phone calls, but if you're not getting the contacts, it means that maybe you should not be making phone calls. Maybe you should be doing something different. So the real
outcome, you're calling it the wrong time of day, or you're calling the wrong business. There's a lot of different factors.
As the CEO of my own company, if you ever look at what we call my weekly objectives matrix, I have one objective in there because I'm the one out there doing lectures and talks and everything. And it's one AAA prospect per week. So I have to bring in a AAA clear prospect. Doesn't mean a sale, but a clear prospect every week. Now, if I have to make phone calls, go to meetings, do whatever, that's activity.
That's those prospects are to get you in front of the room to be able to host an event or share y'all what you teach.
Yeah, or a prospect who's interested in hiring our services or
Okay.
products or something, so prospects. But so anyway, what you need to do is, to begin with, is make sure that everybody's focused daily on outcomes, not on doing, but on delivering. And that's what we do. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you're going to deliver for us this week and which day you're going to deliver each thing. So give me your production plan for the week. And then I don't have to follow up. I don't know. I don't need to know how many. All my team, we've been working remotely since 2012.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah,
it's
same.
just
My business, I started in 2019, right before COVID happened, about a year before COVID. And I was one of the rare companies that actually benefited because of COVID, because we were virtual already and people needed help with that. It was a very odd time to know that I was doing better business wise in COVID and most businesses weren't. It was very
well,
weird.
because of course, the moment you become remote, it's very hard to manage activity. So you better
Mhm.
make the transition to managing outcomes.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
a whole thing. So it's a whole thing. I mean, just if we say people don't know their objectives, then from there everything just goes south. So that's where everything starts, actually.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. We could keep talking about all this stuff.
Yeah,
Let's transition to retention just a little bit.
yeah.
And we had a couple of talking points that we talked about, but we'll see where the conversation goes based on what we just shared. And one of the things you mentioned, though, when we talked before, was about how retention really is based on the experience that whether it's your team or your clients get. And so, talk about a little bit from your point of view the relationship that your team impacts retention or the processes or what you think that looks like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, talking about human nature, which is what I do,
Yeah.
and how to manage human systems, human nature, collective behaviors, all this. Retention is not an outside client-facing issue. I always like to say that retention is an in-out result.
Yes. Agreed.
There has to be the right feel and focus of the team inside in order to be able to have client retention on the outside. I've always said, how can you expect people to help you retain clients if you are not able to retain your people? I
That
mean,
is a mic drop moment.
what?
It truly is.
Yes. So and engagement and retention. I could almost say that we're in a post-retention age because everything's becoming transactional.
Yeah, I am revolting and I'm fighting that battle. You are 100% correct though. It's what's happening, but there's a better way.
Of course, I mean, transactional relationships with clients will never lead to retention. Because if it's just transactional, the very moment somebody offers me $1 less for the service or whatever, I'm going to take it because it's purely
Mhm.
transactional.
Yeah, that's so good. One of the companies I worked for back in like 2010, 2011, I talk about them kind of often because it was the best company I've ever worked for outside of my own. And I learned something from the VPGM, who I was his right hand. And basically, I managed all his stuff and his 13 salespeople. He called me a bulldog, and it was a nice thing. He said, if somebody got on my calendar or got to me on the phone, they had to go through you first, and that means you vetted them. So he trusted me with all that. And he's amazing. But one of the things he taught me was if you want a successful business, you take care of your team first. Your team will take care of the clients, and then between the two, your business is strong. And so you have to take care of your team first.
But that is changing a lot. And it started way back in the 80s with the famous Lee Iacocca.
Oh,
You remember?
mhm.
And then with the GE, the director of GE famous director. What was his name? The
I
CEO of
can't
Disney.
remember his name, but I know who you're talking
But
about.
he's
Yeah.
the one. Those are the ones. They started bringing in the concept that the sole or the main and absolute purpose of a company was to maximize stakeholder value. Jack Welch. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Welch was the one of the most toxic people in the world of business. He brought this cult that is now prevalent for maximizing stockholder value. That's it. Destroy whatever you need to destroy, but you got to maximize stockholder value. And that's the mindset right now. And the
Yeah.
mindset is very different. So how are you going to? I always tell people, I still haven't found employees who feel real passionate and want to make their life mission to give more money to the stockholders. I haven't. Not yet.
They just
Maybe
don't.
there's some out there, but I haven't.
No.
As a matter of fact, and on top of that, now with everything, even the change of name for human resources, from
Oh,
personnel to human resources, that was a horrible change. It's like humans are resources, so let's manage
yeah.
our resources. You're like, come on, it's not. I
Yeah.
actually like personnel better. At least it was a little more human. But anyway, now imagine, for example, here's a clear example. The CEO of Salesforce, Mark Benioff, according to Business Insider, came out with an article the other day. He actually said this in a podcast. He was in a podcast and he said, he had just laid off 9,000 people from Salesforce. And he said, it's been 8 of the most exciting months of my career.
Wow.
I was able to rebalance my headcount and support, and I reduced it by 9,000 people. So he was excited, happy, giddy. I've been able to, so exciting to get rid of all these people. Now, if you're in Salesforce and you listen to your CEO saying that, you're not exactly going to be willing to go the extra mile.
You're not going to be all in because you might be on the next cut.
Yeah, no, plus, what does that tell you about the people who are leading this thing? There's a bunch of mercenaries who don't care about anything except their pocket.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And businesses you're in business to make money. So that's not, making money is not a bad thing, but at the cost of one of the things I'm trying to work towards is to teach business owners leading myself from the way of humanity. If we treat each other like we're humans, because we are, everything changes, right?
And not only that, I mean, yes, companies definitely are there to create benefit for their owners, their founders, the stockholders. But here's something that I think here in the States we've forgotten. Europe hasn't forgotten it that much. But here in the States, we've forgotten one thing. I mean, yes, when there's a company or a corporation, it has a responsibility for the owners to produce benefits, to profit. But if that starts negatively affecting society, then your reason for being as a company ceases to exist.
Yes, agreed.
Because on the other hand, we could say the only difference between, the cartels, they're there to make money for their owners.
That is a great example.
The only difference is that they do something illegal and the other guys are doing it legally. And let's remember, the laws are artificially created by society.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also remember one thing. Everything that Hitler did with the Jews was legal in Germany at the time. So saying what we're doing is legal is a very, very, very
poor standard.
Poor defense. I mean, if you can say the same for the cartels, going back to that, I mean, all they're doing is maximizing the profit for the owners.
Yeah.
So how do you defend that? But anyway, going back to this, you need to have people who are engaged, who feel that they belong to a company that is doing good for others, good for them, because then they'll go out. HEB here in Texas.
Yeah.
And if you're in Texas, you probably don't understand what we're talking about, but HEB is
it's just the whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's a supermarket chain, but it's here in Texas so much more than that. But they have disaster response. I mean, how many times when there have been a hurricane in Houston or whatever, they're the first ones in there in the ground, giving away water and everything. Still remember one of the big hurricanes in Houston, and they opened up their stores to give away water and food to people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the employees, they have a retention, one of the best retention rates in the supermarket business, in the growth, because they get so many great benefits and everything.
I have a funny story that a lot of people probably don't know about HEB. Maybe you do. I don't know. You've been around Texas a while. He actually owned Christian camp for kids in the Hill Country.
Right.
And when I was in junior high and high school, we would go. I called it butt camp because it was it was called something else. But everybody be like, so what'd you do this summer? Well, I went to butt camp because they owned a camp in the Hill Country. And so, yeah, HEB as a whole, it's just a way of life here. They're good people. You know they're gonna do what they say, and they take care of things, right?
I go to a store, and even the manager says, "Are you okay? Did you find everything?" And it's been our experience. When you tell them, "Oh, I couldn't find this," it's amazing. I mean, days later, you get a message saying, "Hey, by the way, now we got what you couldn't find, so it's here if you want it." Stuff like that. But
they've always been good.
Here's a big, very important difference. I don't know if you were aware of this, but HEB is one of the largest privately owned companies in the United States.
I did not know that.
They are not a public company. They are private. The Butt family, and by the way, for everybody who doesn't know, that's the name of the family. B-U-T. The Butt family are the sole owners of HEB. So I have some very good friends who work in HEB in the international department. What they tell me is, look, I mean, my job is assured. They don't fire people. And the owners, they say, we're going to do whatever we want with our money because our money, so we're going to buy local as much as possible. We're going to give the best benefits to our people because we want them to stay. So,
yeah.
And I mean, and everybody here, HEB here in Texas is like a passion.
So do you get their homemade tortillas?
Oh yeah, of course. They're homemade everything. Yeah.
I told my husband you can't buy those anymore because I'll eat them all. They're so good.
And we're talking about client retention. Well, the client retention for HEB is through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah. We even have a saying here in Texas: "It's my HEB."
Mm-hmm. You know? That's such a great example. Yeah. All right. One of the other things we talked about, and I actually want your feedback on it a little bit because I actually agree, but I think we may have a different take on it. You had mentioned that AI can actually cause lower retention.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because AI at the stage it is right now can be frustrating for a lot of people. You can. It's like going on. If you go to YouTube right now, there's a concept called the dead internet. This concept came about like back in 2012, and the concept was that there would be a moment where everything in the internet would be generated by systems and artificial intelligence, and there would be no people talking to people. It would just be AI talking to AI. So it's getting to a point where you see all the content and it's just AI content. You can tell it's AI content.
Same.
And so when you try to reach out to a company and you get AI, you immediately, as a person, as a human, kind of turn off. I mean, there are some people, introverts, who hate to talk to other people. And for them, it's like, great. The less I talk to people, the better. But 80% of humans, we like to talk to another human. We like that contact. Still. I don't know in the future, but still.
Yeah. So my take is I believe that there's first of all, AI is not going anywhere. It's going to get bigger and bolder is the way I would say it. So we have to figure out how to use it effectively without replacing our own voice. And so I do use AI for some things. And for some of the businesses we work with, we use like a voice AI assistant. So if they call and they don't pick up their phone, it can actually take the call and schedule the appointment for them, kind of thing.
Like a virtual assistant that helps you.
Yes. It just automatically kind of happens. But what I'm finding is that for retention, when people think that they're automating these emails that say thank you for your business, that's all written by AI with no human connection, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
So whenever you go in and say, like one of my clients sent me a message today because I sent her something in the mail, and
Right.
she actually sent me a video saying thank you so much of the thing. That can't be replaced by AI. Like
No.
what I did for her cannot be replaced by AI. And so when we use AI appropriately, I think it can enhance what we're doing, but not at the cost of our own voices.
Of course not. And some other examples from Texas, and I want everybody to listen to transpolate to examples they can have in their own states. But another example here is Frostbank, for example.
Mm.
We bank with Frostbank. Why? Because they still, number one, they still have branches where I can go and talk to people. But every time I pick up the phone, and they pride themselves on this, they actually, it's a selling point for them. They said, you're always going to be talking to someone, to a person. So you pick up the phone and you get an actual person and you can have a conversation and everything. You go to a branch and everybody's there and they just do whatever it takes to take care of you, and they're always warm with a smile and everything. We are humans. We are built to be in groups still. And so we are gregarian. We like to be in groups. And that makes you feel good whenever you need it. Sometimes you don't want to go, you don't. You pick up the phone, or you do it online. They got all the options.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something that Frost does, which is amazing. In each of their branches, they have these beautiful meeting rooms. And if you're a Frost client and they are not using the meeting room, they can give it to you so you can use it to meet with a client or something.
Yeah.
You can actually call to the branch and say, can I use your meeting room from this time to this date? And they say, sure. And then you can meet with clients there and you got coffee and you got the whole thing.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know places still did that, and like except for co-working spaces and stuff.
But so, I
Yeah,
mean, these
that's
are the
great.
things that make it human. But also, you go through the door and people are there for you and they're smiling and they're finding ways to help you.
Yeah.
That leads to client retention.
It does. So one of the things I really think that will wrap the AI section up would be the fact that even though AI is here and it's not going anywhere, the people who are going to stand out are the ones that are connecting on the human level.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I wrote an article on LinkedIn last year, and now some people are coming back and saying, okay, I think you were right. It's called the Zen Circle, going back to the beginning. Why? What I was saying is deepfake is getting super real.
Oh,
AI is advancing so much to the point where scams and scammers are taking huge advantage of this. And to the point also where I don't know if you saw the statistic, but companies are having a hard time with online recruitment because sometimes they've been interviewing people
that aren't real.
that don't exist, and they've been hiring people that don't
Oh
exist.
my
And
goodness.
then when they send them their email and everything, they give them access to the company. They go in there and they hack the company. It's beginning to happen. So we're getting to a point, and this is going to be fascinating to see, where you never know. Where we'll get on Zoom or online or whatever, and I will know if I'm talking to Sam,
That's scary.
and you will not know if you're talking to Alberto. But if I'm talking about my financial stuff, or something delicate, or something that is super, very very confidential or whatever, it turns out I think we're going to go back full circle to having to do it in person.
Yeah, it'll be the only way to know. Yeah, I used to say one of the things I said years ago was video or it didn't happen, because the only way you could prove it was you was video. And that's not the case anymore.
And more. Yeah. So imagine if you're discussing your finances and some important stuff with your CFO or your accountant. In the end, you're never going to know if you're really talking to the person.
Yeah.
And the
That's
other thing that's already happening, one of my clients that I'm advising, they just scrapped their whole online email campaign, email and posting campaign for marketing, because they realize it's no longer working.
Did
We
they
are
figure out why?
overloaded with
Oh, yeah.
how many emails do you get or I get every day trying to sell you something
Yeah.
or inviting you to something? The same for messages and LinkedIn and everything. So they are actually reinvesting their money in going to events.
Very smart. Yeah.
And again, we're going back to the relational and to the point as a small business owner. You gotta have a team that is taking care of the present. Because
That's what I want. That's where I'm going. Yes.
now
Tell me
more
more.
than ever, your job has to be out there building the relationships
Yeah.
that are gonna lead you to business, but then keeping those relationships that are gonna result in retention.
Yeah, that's so good. So I literally had a call with some of my leaders today, and we're working on a project that what I told them was I need y'all doing the behind the scenes stuff. I said, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. And this is what I want you to do first, focused on the actual outcome. So we had
Right.
that call today. It was so good. You would have been so proud. And then I started saying what I was going to do. And I'm actively going to reach out to specific people. I'm actually looking at some local nonprofits that we can give our service to for free to start to build those relationships
Right.
in the community, because this is going to be a community driven thing. And one of the girls said, well, wow, that's a lot of like manual work for you to do that. I'm like, that's got to be my only job though. Y'all are doing the rest.
Exactly. You're
We
taking care.
literally had that conversation
Yeah,
today.
you are taking care of the future because those relationships, all that networking, is what's going to build the future for the business.
Yeah.
If
That's
you're
so
stuck in the present, forget it. Managing all the operation, then if the leader is stuck in the present and the team is staying in the present, who's taking care of the future?
Yeah, and you have to be looking towards the future. You have to be building or you're going to be stagnant. What's stagnant ends up going away. Because
And
if
and
you're not
here's
growing, you're dying.
and I know we're kind of running on that late
I
here,
know.
but here's something else, a little food for thought here. Everybody's saying the AI advantage. Well, I'll put it to you. If everybody starts using AI, it is no longer an advantage.
Mhm.
It's like everybody started automating sending the LinkedIn messages, right? Or for you got all this
The
LinkedIn message.
message that I sent you was not automated.
No, it wasn't. And we don't do that because by now we recognize this is a message and everybody's trying to sell you. Now people don't even look at those messages. They just grab
Yeah.
them. So that's no longer an advantage because everybody started doing it. So it becomes, there's an overload of that and people just shut down.
Yeah.
I no longer look at those messages at all.
Yeah. One of the things I recognized a couple of weeks ago, and I did a live video about it, was how I've been contributing to the noise online. And I post a lot of different things, and I always try and post value, but a lot of it has been AI generated. And I've just decided I'm going to use my voice. And if I can't use my own voice, I'm probably not going to post it anymore. And I want to go live. That's why we do the podcast live. It's so much better live, first of all, because you don't have an opportunity to say, oh, cut that out because,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's just better engagement when it's live and people can see that it really is us, at least for now, right? They know that because I'm building relationships, I want people to see me as real, because when they decide to work with us on some level, I am exactly who I am. I'm not pretending to be someone else. I don't put on a show. I'm not a character. The only thing I do is I do wear the hat, but that's just for recognition. But I wear the hat out too.
And
So
it looks great on you, so don't change
thank
it.
you.
But you
Yeah,
know
we
what?
love it.
There's a statistic somewhere out there. I have it in my notes, and of the percentage of buyers or people who buy services, most of them don't buy the service; they buy the person.
100%.
Service. So
Yeah.
if I see you, if we build and I trust you because product is a product, okay? And even in products, you gotta trust the salesperson. You gotta trust the person who's selling you the product. But it's a little different because you got the product. But in services, the
Hmm.
product is still not created. So I gotta trust you. I gotta like what you're saying, and I gotta trust you. And so I'm sorry, but AI is not gonna help you there.
No, it just doesn't. It's not going
AI is not
to.
gonna hire you, and AI is not gonna pay you.
Mm. Oh, that's so good. Well, Alberto, I've had such a great time with you. We will probably end up doing a part two later of this with
Oh,
you for the podcast because I think that you bring some great value, some insights that I know I hadn't thought of, and I'm sure people that have been watching or listening are as well. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts before we wrap up? Something you wish I'd asked, or something you would just like to have a closing thought
no,
with?
I just like to close by telling everybody not to get caught up in the AI and systems frenzy, and not to get carried away with it, to use it very carefully, very strategically as a tool, but to
Mm,
realize that for client retention, for expanding, for growing your business, it's still a relationship based world,
yeah,
and you
that's
got
so
to do the
good.
work.
Yeah, you got to do the work. And it relation. Oh, so one of my best clients, one of my best friends, actually, his name's Coach Dale. We had this discussion a couple of months ago now, and because we were talking about what you mentioned at the beginning about transactional, we're in this transactional world. And we started talking about why that is. And what you just said is going to put a bow on everything we talked about is that people that want to build a business that is built on retention, where you keep your best clients longer, your team longer, it has to start with the relationship. And people are leaning into the transactional side of things because they don't want to build the relationships.
Yeah.
They don't want to do, because relationships, I don't know if you know this, but they can be messy. They can
Oh,
be hard,
woo. Yeah,
right?
we humans are messy, but
Yeah.
but
But it's worth it. It's
yeah,
so worth it. The relationship I have with Coach Dale now, we've been working together for over 6 years. And the relationship I have with him now is so much better than it would have been if I had just done one thing with him and I barely, like, I didn't get to know him, who he is as a person, what he's trying to do in the world. And we try and do that with all of our clients and my team as well.
and and sometimes clients they're difficult, but sometimes we are difficult and we mess it up also. And if we are in a relationship, we both forgive each other and keep moving. So like yourself, some of my clients are also very good friends of mine by now,
I
because we
know.
talk together.
If you're going to be in business with people for long periods of time, it may not ever be personal friends, but you know each other well enough to where it's not just a transactional thing, right? To where you ask about their kids or their family or where they went on vacation or whatever is going on in their world because you care.
Yeah, it's there's a respect. Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, that's my two
Yeah.
cents there.
Yeah, I know. So, well, clearly, we could continue going on and on, but I'm so glad you were here today, and I'll make sure your links are around this video or audio wherever people are listening so they can reach out to you.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's